Look up and see the light. You got a feeling that you're trying to fight. Step aside and let the world take over. You feel pain, you feel passion. Would start a fight just for distraction. If it meant all these emotions would subside. So let it go. You're not alone tonight. Let it go. How about a penny for your thoughts and time? Come on, just open your eyes. You might be feeling like you're falling behind. Step aside and leave your problems behind. Say, you feel love, you feel hatred. Would put a fist through the pavement if it meant all these emotions would subside. So let it go. You're not alone tonight. Let it go. How about a penny for your thoughts and time? You can't bottle up a feeling and just set it to the side. So let it go and ease your mind. Nobody said life would be easy. Nobody said things would be fine. But nobody asked if it was easy for you to go and close your eyes. It's gonna be alright. 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 So let it go. You're not alone tonight. Let it go. Take control of this precious life. You can't bottle up a feeling and just set it to the side. So let it go. Take control of this precious life.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike spending more time on his back than Kamala Harris Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
Hey everybody, is my volume okay?
A little bit louder would be cool.
Okay, I don't know how to do that
Neat.
with a mic.
I got you on this side.
Okay, good, because I can do quieter. I'm not sure I can do louder.
I got you here. Don't you?
Okay, cool.
Don't you worry about it.
I'm not. I wasn't worried about it, but thank you. Hey everybody, how are you doing?
Excellent. Yeah. So first and foremost, allow me to thank Grassroots Kava House for the kava that I drink on this and every episode of the Muddied Waters of Freedom.
and allow me to. Oh, I don't have any. I don't have any water. Will allow me to thank Aldi for these delicious strawberries and blackberries that I'll be eating in lieu of water on this particular episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom. Bulavanaka.
Bulavanaka. So we took a week off.
We did.
We took a week off. I had completed another cycle around the sun, and your marriage had completed another cycle around the sun.
Another cycle of marriage. Yeah. So two things happened. One, we had our respective anniversaries. Your birthday. And my wedding anniversary, and then the other thing that happened was moments after I finished my episode on the 21st. 21st? Was that the Wednesday? Anyway, my last episode 2 Wednesdays ago, with Joshua Bear Smith and James Michael Smith. I got up to go and cook some food. And I bent down to pick up something and experienced the most excruciating pain I've ever had in my life. I thought I had broken something, and I was lying on the floor for 2 days and could barely even move my legs and was in very, very excruciating pain, couldn't roll on my side, couldn't really do anything. I'm still not at 100%, but I can't really sit in a chair right now, which is why, if you were wondering why I was lying in repose here, it's not because of the fact that this is actually a really good look for me, which it is. I've discovered that right now. But I may change the format of my show as a result. But the reason is because I can't sit up for more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I can stand for about roughly the same thing. So I'm just not ready to do my show yet. So I won't be having a show tomorrow, but I will be here because Matt can do everything and I can just lay on the couch.
That's right. And so tomorrow I'm going in for surgery. I got surgery at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're putting me under. So, being recovering addict and all that, it's been a while since I've been any kind of inebriated other than drinking Kava. And
right.
So tomorrow I'm being put under, and I have a show Thursday with Sarah Anderegg, a good friend of mine, another podcaster, blogger, just all around fantastic human being. And I am going to be loopy. I know that I'm going to have some residual, and it's going to be...
I would imagine so.
Yeah, it's going to be just... It's going to be a good time.
TV.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great time for everybody involved, except for probably me, who it'll probably be the best show I ever do, which will only convince me that doing drugs is the right thing.
Sobriety. We keep trying to figure out what isn't, breaking, why we aren't quite breaking into the next level of popularity for our shows. We're getting there faster. We're becoming slowly more popular, but we're not really breaking through. And it's because we're sober.
Yeah, it's because we're sober.
Clearly.
Irish of Idaho.
So we'll see how that goes.
Irish of Idaho is wishing you chiropractor powers.
Thank you, and I'm now approved to see. Well, once I have my thank you, Irish of Idaho. Once my MRI comes back confirming that I don't have an actual spinal injury, I will be going to my chiropractor. I usually go once a week. I'll be going every day, I think, pretty much.
Yeah, and then Dave Hunter from the Tube of You wished us happy belated anniversaries and birthdays.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave Hunter, for constantly watching our show on YouTube and making us have a reason to put it there.
By the way, guys, much better quality on YouTube.
Yeah, Dave Hunter has it figured out.
David Hunter is ahead of, everyone else is living in 2019. Dave Hunter's living in 3019.
Right.
Because he's on YouTube, which is way better quality than Facebook or Periscope. We're glad to have you on either, but definitely join us over on YouTube where the quality's better. And if enough of you watch, we actually make money.
Right.
Not for nothing.
And, that's only until they watch one of our shows and go, oh, no, we're pulling this.
We get deported.
We're not monetizing this for them.
Yeah, no, definitely not. When I saw that, who was it? Someone had posted a video, and it got demonetized because it had a gun in it. And I'm like, man, I really hope they don't watch our show.
Steven Crowder, from Louder with Crowder, Steven Crowder did a video where literally all he did was read the Green New Deal word for word. Didn't editorialize, didn't do any. He just read the Green New Deal, and they demonetized it because it was Steven Crowder reading the Green New Deal.
I agree that it's that offensive, but I'm not sure I would have demonetized him for it. But it's an offensive document. It is. This is a really good angle for me.
It is a really good angle for you.
I look like I'm in my 20s again. This is a really good.
You could be in your 20s.
I feel like I'm in my 20s, but it's because I'm lying down. I'm not having to, if I'm standing, I'm clearly having to use any muscles. It's very evident that I'm well into my 30s and approaching my 40s.
Right.
I know I'm dating myself. But laying down, it's like, man, I'm a kid. So you're going to have to guide this show, by the way, because I can either be on this or I can look at our show notes. I can't do both.
Right, I know. That this is going to be the fun part for all of this because I'm not used to doing this anymore. It's all new.
Right.
It's been a while since I've had to do everything on the show.
I know, this is a throwback, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so we missed last week, and we're sorry, but we have lives also. Things happen to us. But
live spines, yeah.
But so a lot of stuff happened. We actually had a huge show that was going to happen last week, but then we ended up canceling it last minute because it was going to be huge. Episode 97, the big one. I don't know if that's what we were going to call it, but it was good. It was going to be a great episode. A lot of stuff happened the week before, and then we decided to cancel the show. So real quick, right before we. The week before we decided to cancel the show, the Mueller report came out. And like we have been... Okay, so this show literally is as old as the Mueller report.
Right.
The Mueller investigation has pretty much been going on since this show has been in existence. At one point, with the original co-host, we joked that we were going to rename the show... #Russia and fake news, because that was all we talked about. And it was all about the Mueller report, and it was all about fake news and what was being reported was real and whatever.
Right.
So after 2 years plus, the Mueller report comes out. And Irish the Spud Boy switched over from Twitter.
Thank you for joining us, Dave and Irish the Spud Boy.
Thank you, Irish the Spud Boy. And as always, David Hunter.
And as always, David Hunter. Thank you.
He says he doesn't get the truthiness over here. So the Mueller report finally comes out, and like we have been saying from day one, there is no Russia collusion. Yeah. And that is what the Mueller report has said. So again, we've been right.
Oh, listen, guys. So we've talked about this a lot. We have never not been right. We have nailed every prediction we've made. And for that reason, our predictions are somewhat sparing. But no, that's not so. I mean, I think we thought that the Republicans would retain control of the House. That's the one thing we've gotten wrong.
Yep. That is the
And
one
we thought
thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are the vast majority of the time, we are correct. And way before everyone else. We were calling elections and going to bed while everyone else was talking about recounts for weeks. And we're like, we know who won.
Yeah,
we already know who
it's
won.
already over. It's done. We called it.
Yeah. I couldn't say their first names correctly, but I got the last, Rick DeSantis and Steve Kemp winning their respective gubernatorial races in Florida and Georgia. But I knew they won. I knew they won.
Yeah.
I should know what their name was. Yeah. So I mean, we've been nailing it. We nailed it with this. We said, if there was collusion with Russia, we would have already known because it would have gotten leaked. With all of the leaking that was happening with that report, there wasn't a shot in hell that they were finding out that they had reason to believe that there was collusion and that wasn't going to go get leaked to anyone.
Right.
The obstruction thing. So the report, or rather the summary of Mueller's report by Attorney General David Barr.
Nope.
It says that there was no evidence of collusion or no reason to believe there was collusion. It didn't. I forget the exact wording, but it basically said that
you still have trouble with the first names.
What would I say?
You said David.
Who's David? I don't even remember saying David.
You said David Barr.
David Barr. David Barr.
Yeah. No.
Attorney General.
What is it? I just looked it up because I was like, I want to make sure that I get it right. But it's William.
William Barr. David Barr.
David Barr. Right.
I don't even know where David Barr. Oh, David Barr used to wash our cars. Anyway,
it's good to see that he's got great employment now.
He does. Yeah, if you want to get your car washed, definitely go to someone else. He was terrible. But anyway, so so William Barr. So the report says that there was no evidence of collusion, and that, but I guess Mueller didn't want to make a traditional prosecutorial judgment as to whether or not he obstructed justice. I guess Barr decided he didn't, and he said that the report didn't exonerate him, but it also didn't find him guilty.
Right.
And that's not.
It said that the report does not conclude that the president committed a crime. While this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him, which
right.
That sentence, that one sentence,
right.
has absolutely started this wildfire of every single pundit of mainstream media on the
right.
left. Like, not Fox News, obviously, but like pretty much anybody else.
Oh, no, Fox has declared victory. It's over.
Yeah,
Trump's been reelected already. Yeah, yeah.
They're playing Queen over at Fox. They're getting white boy wasted over at Fox, screaming "We are the champions" at the top of their lungs. But everybody else is saying, "This is not the end, just the beginning."
Right.
Everybody is saying, this is not the end, just the beginning. This is not the end, just the beginning. This is the beginning. This is not the everybody is saying.
This is not the end. It's the beginning.
Right. Because the Mueller report was supposed to be it. That was supposed to be the end. And then it comes out, and because of this one sentence, one sentence in which Billy Barr said,
David Barr,
that the Mueller report, it also does not exonerate him. Now everybody wants to read the Mueller report, the 350 plus page Mueller report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, there's this conspiracy theory that the real report says that he did it, or that, there's, a lot of reason to think he did it, but just no proof. And that's why, Barr has just released this, 4-page summary or whatever. Right. More than likely, we're going to end up seeing the report. I have a feeling, and again, I'm an anarchist. I don't really have any faith in the government, but I do have faith in human nature. And I don't believe that the Attorney General is going to intentionally, misrepresent what's in the report, if for no other reason that it's so easy to leak the report. So many people have access to the report and could leak it. And the idea that oh, we're going to just pretend it says that he didn't do anything, but it really says that he did. That's not how that works. And it's going to be too easy to get caught lying with that. I think the summary is going to end up, if and whenever the actual report gets released or leaked or whatever, I think that it's going to show that it was pretty much a summary of what the report said.
Right.
I think there may be some stuff in the report that's less than savory for Trump, but does anyone for a second think, I mean, we've been experiencing 3 years of news that is less than savory for Trump, some of it from his own mouth. So, I mean, at this point, there's not going to be anything in that that's like, oh my gosh, Trump's a jerk. Like, I mean, everyone like this, that's already baked into the cake at this point. So I don't think there's anything in there. I think the whole reason why it said, so from what I've read, the whole obstruction of justice thing, in order to have obstructed justice, you have to have shown usually that you had criminal intent. Well, if there's not proof that you did anything illegal, then it's going to be hard to say you obstructed justice because you weren't there apparently wasn't anything to hide.
Right.
So I have a feeling that it's that, like, for example, Trump didn't want to cooperate with the interview. He didn't want to be interviewed he didn't want to directly sit down and be interrogated by or interviewed by Mueller and a few other things. I think he was probably difficult, and obviously the fact that he was tweeting about how much of a jerk Mueller was every couple weeks or whatever, and then witch hunt and all of that stuff. I think that's what he means by saying he can't say whether he obstructed justice or not, because it wasn't like he was a really eager participant. But if he didn't do anything illegal, then that just means he's a dick. It doesn't mean that he like it doesn't mean that he actually. It's like if a cop comes to my house and says, yeah, we're investigating something, I'm like, screw you, I don't care, and I go get a warrant, and I slam the door on him, but I didn't do anything wrong or illegal, then that's not obstruction of justice. That's just me being a jerk to a cop,
right? Which
is advisable.
Not
Let me rephrase that. It's not advisable. It's a good thing. I wouldn't necessarily advise it, but it's a moral act.
Not only that, but it is also protected by the Second Amendment. Or by the First Amendment, according to the Supreme
Court. Sometimes by the Second.
So, yeah. The reason that the First Amendment is protected is by the Second. So
it's by the Second.
I'm standing by my statement.
If they don't have a warrant and they still come in, now it's protected by the Second Amendment. Right. We're not going to talk about it.
Right, yeah. No, not great.
People get mad when you say that.
Right. But, yeah, so, I mean, like, the Supreme Court recently ruled that it is protected by the First Amendment that you can give the cop the finger. So
yeah, you can flip a cop off.
You can flip a cop off. So, flip off a cop.
See how that goes for you.
See how that goes for you.
I'm sure they'll just give you a warning then.
Yeah, remind them that it's protected under the First Amendment. Thanks to the Supreme Court justices that were put in place by the president that the cops probably voted for.
Hey, you know what? Oh, but the Supreme Court. Oh, well, guess what the Supreme Court just said, officer? It's a funny thing.
Yeah.
You didn't want to vote for Hillary, which I don't blame you, but interesting thing happened a few weeks ago. I'm going to tell you all about it.
Let me tell you all about it.
But yeah, so I was so, like, literally when I was laying there on the floor, one of my, besides will I ever be able to walk again and ow, those were my two most prominent thoughts. My third thought after ow and I hope I can walk again is I can't believe, or no, I have to get better, because literally the reason this, I mean, not the reason, but something that's been going on the entire time this show's been on has come to a conclusion. It's like the biggest news week in months. We have to have an episode. And then the next thing that happened, I don't even need the show notes. The next thing that happens that was equally big is, speaking of obstruction of justice, I'll do a segue. Jussie Smollett.
Okay, got it.
I didn't know if you knew where I was going with that.
I didn't.
Jussie Smollett last week had all of his charges. He had 16 charges against him from Chicago Police Department for filing false police reports and obstruction of justice and all sorts of stuff. The prosecutor, Kim Fox. Kim Fox?
Kim Fox, yep.
Kim Fox.
Kim Fox.
Kim Fox. Good old Kim Fox. I didn't say Jamie Foxx, so I'm doing well. Kim Fox decided to drop all of the charges against him. And his attorney immediately turned around and said he's been fully exonerated. And then they interviewed the prosecutors, and they were like, "No, he still did it. We just dropped it because he's been such a pillar in the community, and he's letting us keep the $10,000 bond for his bail."
Now, I like when all of this was happening.
Right.
Rumors flying everywhere. So,
right.
So much so that it was like impossible to keep up with the amount of rumors that were going around. I heard that, and I don't know if any of these are true because there were just so many. I didn't look into them. And the Mueller report came out, so that was really just the more important news story. So
right. Of course.
But I read that one of Michelle Obama's aides, that's with an E, not just so you know, that's with an E.
That's the one. Just the one.
One of Michelle Obama's aides had talked to Kim Fox and cut a deal. Had cut a deal for him through the Obamas. One of the rumors I've heard. I also heard that the police union is suing Jussie for the money that it cost them to do their investigation.
No, I think it's the city of Chicago.
Okay,
has sent him a bill.
Okay, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, they said you cost this. Because guys, I for one will not rest until we find the racist white MAGA hat wearing gentlemen who were in the south side of Chicago at 2 a.m. during a polar vortex storm and were racist and homophobic, and also knew an actor, a gay black actor from a very popular black show. Somehow, even though he was wearing winter clothing, because again, it was like negative 40 degrees out or some ridiculous thing.
At 2 a.m. at a Subway.
At 2 a.m. in a Subway with a snowstorm.
Subway, the restaurant, not like the L. Just to clarify. Yeah,
and that they also had a noose and bleach that they were waiting to commit hate crimes against gay black people, and then they beat him up, but only a little bit, and they put a noose around his neck, but they just put it there. They didn't kill him or hang him, and they put bleach on, but they just splashed him a bit, and then they ran off.
Probably a lot like his date the night before.
Ooh. Speaking of AIDS, now we're definitely going to get demonetized.
AIDS over.
But so I won't rest until we find these two, because it's an absolute travesty that they still roam free to sort of hurt gay black guys.
You know, I am going to join the fight to find these two white, racist, MAGA hat wearing homophobes in Chicago with the exact same amount of passion and care that I am searching for OJ's Nicole Brown, whatever. Nicole's wife's killer, or OJ's wife's killer.
OJ's wife's killer, Nicole. Nicole's wife, OJ's
Nicole Brown Simpson. There it is.
Nicole Brown Simpson and Daniel. He's a Jew. Why don't I know his name? Daniel Pearl. Daniel
the waiter.
The Jew.
I call him the waiter.
The waiter, the Jew waiter.
The Jew waiter.
Guys, now that this whole Mueller thing's wrapped up, this show is all going to be about finding who beat up Jussie and who killed Nicole and Danny, the Jew waiter.
But not to worry, he is still the gay Tupac.
he is still the gay Tupac. Well, he is the Tupac. He's beating charges. I mean, listen, so yeah, so they dropped all the charges. Uh, uh, the mayor Rahm Emanuel, who also was a former chief of staff of Obama, right?
I believe he was chief of staff.
Yeah, so he's the mayor, and he's outraged. Some nice choice Democrat on Democrat action there. He's angry. The chief of police, whose name escapes me.
And you didn't put it. What you put in the notes is not his real name.
No, that's not his name. No, that's a nickname I gave him. He is. They're mad. They're very angry. They said that it cost $140,000 to do this investigation. I mean, they were at one point they thought there were people that were committing hate crimes, and so they spent quite a while until they figured out that it was two guys from Nigeria. Actually, I think they're American born. They're American born, but they're from Nigerian descent or whatever. But it was people that knew him, and they immediately started saying it was a hoax. And again, the prosecutor's office still believes he's guilty of this. They dropped the charges because he let them keep the bond. Now, guys, I don't know if you've ever experienced any troubles in the criminal justice system, but imagine being told that you're facing 16 counts, but they'll just drop them if you let them keep the bond.
That is worth $10,000 all day.
Yeah, for a lot of lesser charges. Now, I will say this. I always thought it was a bit excessive that they're hitting him with 16 charges. They acted like they were going to try to throw the book at him. There's a whole, at least in libertarian circles, surprise, surprise, there's a debate about whether or not it's actually a crime when there's not a victim and all these other things. But now we're talking about, basically political favors and celebrity getting you out of prosecution. So I mean, there's a power dynamic there as well. But I don't know if that's true. The rumor you heard about that she just called and got her to drop it, but I do know that she admitted to it, something Tran or Tram or something. She did get the prosecutor in touch with one of Jussie Smollett's relatives, and they stayed in touch during the whole thing, which is very odd that a prosecutor would. Anyway, so Kim Foxx then recused herself, but she didn't fully recuse herself because she appointed the person to replace her as the prosecutor, which is not a recusal. Recusal is where you walk away from it and someone else is in charge of appointing your replacement. You don't name your successor. That's not a recusal. That's just you bowing out. So the whole thing stinks to high hell. Donald Trump went on Twitter and said he's sending the FBI and the Department of Justice, possibly Bob Mueller is heading to Chicago to investigate collusion, if you will, with the Chicago prosecutor's office, and see if any kind of not just ethics but crimes were committed there. So we'll see.
Yeah, Chris Rock at the I think it was the NAACP Awards, at some award show for members of the African American community in entertainment. Chris Rock was the host, and he trashed Jussie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he trashed him. He was like, "That you didn't deserve that. Ooh, you get a E now. You're just Jesse." Like he was going off on him. Anthony Anderson, though, was rooting for him to win in his field.
Now, why did Chris Rock get upset?
I think Chris Rock knows that the entire thing was crap, and that I think that he believes that Jussie beat himself up and that he staged the entire thing.
Right.
But yeah, I honestly, I don't know. Chris, I didn't actually see it. I saw like a clip of it afterwards of Chris Rock being very Chris Rockian. walking back and forth on the stage as fast as he can.
Pacing himself, yeah.
Jussie, that you? You didn't earn that, you get an E, nah. And
that's actually a pretty good Chris Rock.
I've watched
almost as good as Steve Carell's in The Office. Almost as good as that one. This is second to that impersonation.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've watched a lot of Chris Rock in my life. I was just watching him in the movie Dogma yesterday, which I had not seen in many a year.
He is in Dogma, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Rufus, the apostle.
Yeah. So maybe he was upset because here's another. So the Chicago police, who just decided that that they were they investigated themselves and found themselves not to be guilty of murdering Laquan McDonald. They have a long history of really bad interactions with the people that they're supposed to be protecting, even though the Supreme Court said in 2005 that the police have no duty to protect us. Their only duty is to enforce the law, which anyone who's ever dealt with police could tell you. But so I mean, that's how most people get the book thrown at them by the Chicago law enforcement apparatus, and Jussie Smollett gets basically 10 grand taken from him, and everyone told how cool of a guy he is. So I assume that's why Chris is upset.
Even Saturday Night Live attacked him.
Who, Jussie?
Yeah.
It's easy. I mean, listen, everyone made fun of him during the thing. Like, it's easy fodder. And I remember when the charges got dropped, everyone's like, "Haha! Now what do you have to say?" It was like,
well, no,
same thing we had to say before. Like, they said he still did it. Like, no one except him said that this exonerates him. They just said we're not going to prosecute him for whatever reason.
Right.
Which is okay, but he still did it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, SNL made fun of him this past week. He showed back, like, in the skit, he showed back up to
Empire.
Thank you. I was like, that show he's on. He showed up to a meeting with the Empire producers, and he's going, he showed up 2 hours late, and he's like, "You guys would not believe what happened to me on the way here." And they're like, "Oh no, not again." Not again. He's like, "Look, I've got this bag full of clues." And he pulls out a look, Crest White strips. What do you think that means? I don't know, because they're white. Oh, you think this is racial? And then he called himself he was like, "I'm like the gay Lee Daniels." And then Keenan was playing Lee Daniels. He goes, "No, I am actually the gay Lee Daniels." And
that's funny.
Yeah.
Who played Terrence Howard?
He wasn't there.
The best character on there. I don't even watch the show. I just like Terrence Howard.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're Robert Downey Jr., you probably like Terrence Howard.
Robert Downey Jr.
Iron Man?
I don't know that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he and Terrence Howard didn't get along, which is why Terrence Howard is no longer in the Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun fact, there are 2 movies in which Ludacris beats up Terrence Howard. One of them is Hustle and Flow, and the other one, name escapes me at the moment. But it's something, Traffic, or Traffic Jam.
Traffic.
Something about traffic.
It's Traffic.
Traffic? Yes.
Wait.
2 movies.
No, it can't be Traffic. I don't think Terrence Howard is in Traffic.
Crash. Google, after this show, everyone, don't do it now. Don't do that. Later, Google Terrence Howard Ludacris movie. 2 of them will come up. One is Hustle and Flow, and the other is
Crash.
Crash. I think it's Crash.
Yeah, it's Crash. Best Picture winner.
Yep. Was it?
Yes.
See, it's and Hustle and Flow got rave reviews too. Turns out, if you make a movie with Ludacris beating up Terrence Howard, instant classic. I'm soon going to be releasing a movie called Terrence Howard Gets Beaten Up by Ludacris, and it will just be like Ludacris, no pretext at all, just Ludacris beating up
Terrence Howard. Yeah, #1 movie of all time.
It's the Academy Award for your consideration. Terrence Howard gets beaten the crap out of him by Ludacris.
I have a strong feeling that Terrence Howard is not going to sign on for that film.
I can try my best. Why are you beating me up, man? And that's a terrible Terrence Howard impersonation. Probably won't get the Oscar, but we'll probably make some money on it. So that's what happened last week.
That is what
pretty much
right
that we missed. I'm sure there were some lesser items that we won't bother going into, but those are the two big ones. Donald Trump not guilty of collusion. Jussie Smollett not going to be found guilty of 16 counts of faking being beaten up by a racist.
Right. Not being, I guess, just having the charges dropped.
Right.
Right.
He beat the case. He beat the case, or he had the case. He didn't even beat the case because they didn't have a trial,
so he didn't beat
the case.
Right.
So he's not the gay Tupac. He's like the gay. I don't know who had charges dropped on them. I don't know.
He's like the black gay Trump.
Black gay Trump. They found no prosecutor. They didn't use traditional prosecutorial judgment as to whether or not he was guilty of anything.
Right.
So that's what happened last week.
That is what happened last week. This week. So, do you want to do the Trump thing or the big thing?
What's the Trump? Let's do the Trump thing because that's the.
So, Donald Trump came out this week, and he has threatened to shut down the border with Mexico. Just clamp it down.
Shut it down.
Like one of those bars that has the garage doors, much like Grassroots Kava House in downtown St. Petersburg. At closing time, when they just shutter those doors, he's going to do that to Mexico. And he says that security is more important than trade. Ben Franklin was unavailable for comment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a way we've come, America. I mean,
Sean Whitehead said gay Suge Knight.
Oh. Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, he got away with a lot of murder before he went to jail. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's as good as any other one I could come up with. I could see Jussie Smollett holding Vanilla Ice by his feet from a balcony and demanding that he be in a music video. I could see that.
I don't think Jussie Smollett could hold Vanilla Ice.
He just hold him. And when they go, "Why are you doing that?" And he goes, "Did you see that? He was trying to bleach me with his MAGA hat on. Bastard." So
Trump, or not wall, shutting down the border. Sorry.
Trump's going to shut down the border. So this is a country that was founded on shooting lots of cops and then sending the rest of them back home to Britain where they belong over a 5% tax on tea and a few other things that were basically just like, don't tell us what to do, we'll kill you.
Right.
That's what the country was founded on. And there were several rebellions against the government, against the U.S. government, the Whiskey Tax Rebellion and others, that were based on like, no, the hell you won't tell me to do. And it was like what we would consider to be minor stuff, like a 5% tax on whiskey, like rezoning, just real minor stuff. Like, no, leave us alone or we'll kill you. That's where we started. That's what the greatest country on earth started as, was leave us alone or we'll kill you. Now, we now have choice between a president who wants to shut down the border with Mexico because a lot of people want to come here, is essentially why, and a president who, wants to tax us and force us all to use the same government healthcare system and, have us be in trouble if we don't use someone's preferred gender pronoun. Like these are our choices now.
And so over the last week, I've had some free time, as I do. And This past week I dedicated myself to watching a lot of podcasts or listening to a lot of podcasts, depending on whichever app I was using at that time.
Right.
Which we are available on all of them, by the way.
Every single one of them. Yeah.
Every single one of them. If there's an app, we're on it. So I was watching a bunch of podcasts, and I was watching an episode of our good friend Andrew Heaton. Something's off with Andrew Heaton, and I don't remember the name of the two guys that he had on, but they were saying something very similar to what you just said, and they said, you have a bunch of people who are upset if we don't use the correct pronouns, or you've got a bunch of people who are upset if you say that the Trump's an evil orange guy or whatever. And they said, this reminds me so much, and this is going to be a throwback, and I'm going to say maybe 20% of our viewers will remember this happening. They said, this reminds us so much of Summer of the Shark. Yep. I remember Summer of the Shark. Summer of the Shark was 1 year, there was no news, so all the news reported on was this increase in shark attacks, even though even though the number really hadn't changed at all. They were just like, well, we need something to report. And they said that was the last major news story before September 11th.
Yeah, 2001 was all about Chandra Levy?
Sandra Levy.
Chandra Levy, however you say that.
Yeah. How could one Chandra be so Levy?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We were listening to that song literally.
We were just listening to that. Wow.
Yeah.
Small world. And so, summer of 2001 was literally Chandra Levy, or Sandra Levy, however you say that, and shark attack. And it was like, if you go on the beach, you can't go in the water because the sharks will kill you.
Right.
You can't go in the park because Chandra Levy's killer will kill you. And it was probably that. And it's funny because it turned out to not be the congressman who was cheating, who was having an affair with her.
Right. I would have bet all the money in the world it was him.
I was certain it was him. And not only was it not him, it was a completely random thing. She was just in the park. But yeah, that was like, there was nothing going on. And Al-Qaeda said, hey, slow news week, huh? And then that's what happened. But yeah, it really is. It's just people being like, everyone's offended. And not only is everyone offended, they want people to go and be put in cages and fined and have their lives ruined because I'm offended. I think I'll say me because you're a child. You don't remember any of this. But I think my generation, I'm technically a blasted, damnable millennial, but I'm like that first, like, I'm technically a millennial. I was born in 82. So I'm technically a millennial, but I don't have the millennial experience. And part of the millennial experience is I was the last generation that was taught stuff like sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. And like, if someone says something insulting to you, say something insulting back or ignore it because they're jealous because they're not Jewish. That's what I was told. But this whole thing of like, I'm offended, you've assaulted me, you need to go to jail, or I don't agree with you, so you need to be punished for that, or the man didn't stand during our song at he kneeled during the anthem, he must be fired. Like, people are just getting outraged about the dumbest things that have none of it matters. Like, it has nothing to do with you, mind your own business type of thing. But so don't do that.
Right. Now, speaking of the millennials, many of them very upset about this border shutdown. potential border shutdown.
Oh, it'll ruin us.
It'll ruin
it. Here's where I am a millennial. You tell them about it, because here's where I am a millennial.
With this border shutdown, it is a strong possibility that the U.S. will no longer have avocados in a month. No more avocados. Now, a fun stat that I learned today. How many hours do you think, like let's say America loses all of its electricity. How many hours until we're in like a Mad Max situation?
0.5.
Slightly more than that, but like over the span of all human history, not that many. 72 hours. Now, I am willing to bet you tell everybody that there are no more avocados. 64 tops.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well within 72 hours for avocados. Electricity, 10 seconds. And especially if they know what it's one thing, okay, the power's out. Oh, power's out. We'll get it back in a few hours. Power's out and never coming back, or not coming back for a very long time, minutes. At minutes. The very second people realize it's not a transformer thing, that like their cell phone's not working and their landline's not working and the TV's not working, and they get in the car and drive around and everything's off and they keep going and stuff keeps being off. Mad Max within 24 hours. Everyone's dead.
Yep.
Mad Max.
72, like the actual study is 72 hours. It's based on like different hazard areas like New Orleans after Katrina, stuff like that. And where the actual tipping point was, where people were like, all right, we're on our own. We're fending for ourselves. We're not waiting for the government. And that's when everything goes kind of crazy. But
avocados,
less.
Same thing. Same amount. Less time. Listen, there are two things. Okay? Listen, I'm just a simple Jew with MS. I'm not a violent man. Okay? I'm on a couch right now because I blew my back out bending over to pick up aluminum foil. Okay? I'm not a warrior. I don't pretend to be one. I talk about shooting cops a lot. I'm not the guy. I'm on a couch. I have a pillow behind me because the couch itself isn't comfortable enough. I needed a pillow. Okay? This is who I am. Let me tell you something. There are two things. Two objects, not people, because there are some people that matter a lot to me too. Two things. Salmon and avocado.
And strawberries.
I like strawberries, but I can, if someone said there's no more strawberries, I'll be like, are there blueberries? Salmon, avocado. Take these things from me. Tell me I can't have these. Thank God salmon comes from Alaska. Okay? Because take these two things from me, and it may not be effective violence. I may just be shooting my gun from the couch, but I'll be shooting my gun from the couch. And
right.
God have mercy on anyone who's anywhere near my couch.
Eric Damewood wants to know if you like avocados because they are green. I am certain I understand why he said that.
Because they're... Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're even sweeter when you find them on the ground and pick them up.
Yep. You should have come by last week. I had an avocado go bad in my fridge.
You had an avocado go bad?
Yeah, I forgot it was there.
How do you forget an avocado?
Because it went behind. I'm not going to discuss my fridge organizational lack of skill.
I get dozens. I don't even have to put them in the fridge. I get dozens. My wife does the shopping. She goes to Aldi and gets another shout out to Aldi, and gets dozens of avocados, and I eat them as fast. I start eating them overripe. Okay, you want it to? This is now an avocado episode. But you take an avocado, you slice it up overripe, you put it in the oven. A little bit of olive oil, it tastes like a potato wedge. So, yeah, much better for you, too. Full of omega-3s, or 9s, or whatever. It's got a good omega in it. Good omegas, you get those. Salmon. There's no bad way to prepare salmon. If there is, I haven't discovered it.
Right. No, that's accurate.
I'm gonna have salmon after this show. I had it before this show. So I think my point here is, if there's nothing else you get from this episode, which is a very strong possibility, if there's nothing else you get from this episode, understand that if we lose access to avocados or salmon, there's going to be a lot of violence happening in my general area. So if you live in the Grand Strand area, just, keep your head on a swivel if that happens, because I'm going to be indiscriminate with my violence. So.
Speaking of somebody being indiscriminate.
Oh, God, yes. Yes.
That's how you segue.
That is a segue.
Presidential hopeful. Former Vice President, Mr. Joe Biden has been accused by multiple women, two women as of now, of making them feel uncomfortable. One of these women being Lucy Flores, a Nevada politician.
Yes.
I assume there will be 2 gift baskets of salmon and avocados.
I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I hope so.
That would be great. Joe Biden has been accused of by Lucy Flores of making her feel uncomfortable. Said that while they were at an event in Nevada, he came up from behind.
As he does.
As he definitely does.
He does often.
Massaged her shoulders.
As he does. Smelled
her hair.
As he does.
And kissed her on the back of the head. Now, the only thing that I'm like, well, it could be worse, is the fact that Lucy Flores is probably in her 30s, as opposed to most of the women it appears that Joe Biden does this to. Sorry, girls would be a much more appropriate term.
Listen, so, and you segued it well. He doesn't discriminate. He has been accused of doing something that we have multiple videos of him doing in the weirdest of situations.
Yep.
Like, what was it? Ash Carter, the guy that was the Obama's nominee for the defense secretary. He's giving like a speech, and and his wife is next to him. And here comes Joe Biden to smell her hair and, whisper into her ear, "What shampoo is this?" Like, whatever he's saying. And he's got his arms around her. And then there's other video of him doing it with like little kids and stuff.
There was one. Like, it was a judge that was getting sworn in.
Yeah.
And his daughter was there, and Joe was like, "No, you stand here," and like put his hands on her shoulders, and you could just see the uncomfort in this girl as she's sitting there going, "Why is this 70-year-old man forcing me to
groping me?" Yeah, I mean, listen. I mean, we don't have any, of him like cupping someone's, nipple or something like that.
Yeah, but there's no Al Franken moment, but
no, there's none of that. But like, this is what he's doing in front of cameras. You have to think it gets worse off camera.
And it does.
You have to.
It does, and we're going to get into that later. It's going to be so great because I have been reading so much today. But yeah, so like, this is obviously very worrying stuff. Like, how anybody's not worried about this blows my mind. And again, the leftist, the left mainstream media, the same people are saying that this is not the end, just the beginning, in regards to the Mueller report, are sort of giving this a bit of a pass. They're like kind of letting it go. Like Mika Brzezinski, she came out and on Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough.
Oh, Morning Joe, yeah. I knew that name. Okay.
Yeah. On Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, she came out and she said, man, I left some typos in this one, that women need to be heard, but not all women should be believed, to which Joe said, yes, that's why we have due process. Which didn't matter in October.
Where was that? Where was this sentiment recently when old Justice Gang Rape himself was being accused of? And we're not Kavanaugh fans. Like, that was such a botched opportunity to stop a justice who is ultimately going to do what Merrick Garland would have done. He's not a fan of gun rights for the sake of gun rights. He's not a fan of rights to, he's not a fan of the Fourth Amendment at all, or the right to be secure in one's possessions. He's a statist, police apologist, and it shows in his decisions. We're not fans of Kavanaugh. That whole circus of, I think there was one possibly credible allegation, and then followed by a bunch of garbage about gang rape parties and all this nonsense with not even an attempt to prove it or corroborate it. And everyone was like, we have to believe women. We have to believe victims. Now, here is someone who is demonstrated to be really weird and touchy. We've been calling him Uncle Touchy for as long as I've been on this show. And this has been a long-running joke, at least in conservative and libertarian circles, about Joe Biden being a gropey, uncomfortable, creepy, old man who, gets little girls and, hey, what's a big deal for you, huh? Like, I mean, this is weird. Like, this is nothing new. This is not a new allegation. This is not like the shock of hearing that the Virginia lieutenant governor, whose name escaped me.
Justin Fairfax.
Fairfax. I knew it was a city in Virginia. That he was accused of raping a lady at the 2004 Democratic Convention. That was a shock. This is not a shock. We have video of it.
Right. Nothing about this one is surprising. Video. Absolutely nothing about
this. This is what we were all waiting for. This is, you're going to run for president? Hey, now you're going to have to answer for being Uncle Touchy for 20 years.
I was like, man, he's running for president. I give it, and I wish that we had done a bet on how long it took before the first accusation, because I think I would have hit the under. I think I would have given it 3 weeks to a month before the first.
I would have given it days.
Yeah.
I would have given it days. Yeah, I would have definitely hit the under I would have gone under the under. That is hitting the under. I would have hit the under because I would have thought a matter of days. And he hasn't even announced he's running yet, right?
No, he has.
Oh, he has.
Yeah, it was immediate. It was literally like a month after he announced he was running that.
Oh, okay.
That allegation started dropping.
Again, allegations of what we know he's done.
Right.
Like, we talk about him smelling women's hair. Who smells someone's hair? Like a stranger.
Unless
it's just a weird.
Unless you're on Impractical Jokers, nobody.
Right. This is very much like a punked moment. The vice president comes up and sniffs your head. And I've seen so many apologists in the last few days who suddenly don't care about believing women, and people who've said stuff like, "Well, I like to hug too," and it's like, okay, I was raised in the South. I don't sound like it, but I'm a Southerner. I sound like this because my parents are from up north, but I'm a Southerner. We hug. I'm a big hugger. I realize when I go up to Canada and up north that people aren't ready for my huggery because I hug a lot. I don't hug women from behind unprompted and grab them and sniff their heads and whisper into their ear. That's not hugging.
No.
That's not a good touch. That's a bad touch.
That is a touch that you're doing it wrong. If when you touch somebody, their entire body tenses up, which you can see in all of these videos.
They're all just... No, there's one picture of him doing it with this biker chick, and she's loving it.
Right.
There's him at a bar, glad handing with the constituents, and he's all up in this woman's hair, and she's loving it. Now the two guys that are with her are noticeably uncomfortable. One of them probably her husband,
right?
And because he'll do that in front of your husband, he don't give a damn. He's Joe Biden. He's got Secret Service there.
What are you gonna Joe do? Mother and Biden.
Exactly. He's come for your women, and he doesn't give a damn about you or anyone else. And I'll tell you, I don't necessarily think he's a rapist, but he's really, really, really touchy and creepy. And I'll tell you this: if a rape allegation comes up, then I'd have to say that I'd find that more credible than anything about Kavanaugh.
Easily. Because we have video proof of
him doing this.
Now, on The View, which I don't watch often or ever.
Really?
Yeah.
When do you watch The View, Matt?
For many reasons.
Right.
I don't have cable TV. I don't have TV.
Right.
I'm one of those hipsters. I listen to vinyl. So I don't have TV. I don't wake up whenever I don't even know when The View is on. So I'm assuming I don't wake up by the time it's on. Like Meghan McCain just she doesn't really do it for me. So I'm not tuning in. Now, members of The View said he is just an affectionate person and we shouldn't get rid of affectionate people.
Dear Lord.
Yeah. Everybody is an affectionate person up until they're way too affectionate, and Joe Biden crossed that line a long time ago.
Guys, we are not feminists on this show. You don't grab a woman and sniff her, and especially not like a kid, like teenagers and stuff like that. Like, we're gonna think a lot of things that are okay that many other people won't think are okay. This is not okay.
This is not things you
not
do.
Okay.
This is not things you do.
This is a bad touch.
Somebody else on The View said he's a hands-on kind of guy, which is weird because during his vice presidency, he was definitely hands-off. And then Abby Huntsman. I don't know what this woman looks like. I don't know who she is. But she said this quote: "I've had concerns about the Me Too movement from the beginning. About getting to this place where you can't have normal interactions with each other."
Oh my God! This is the line.
This is okay. So Joe Biden was your line. Like anybody else, you're like, no, that's fine. No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Joe Biden, whoa, he's just hands-on and touchy but he doesn't discriminate. He does not discriminate with who he is. Hands-on and touchy.
No, if you're a woman, you are in danger.
Right. If Joe Biden is within, I don't know, 200 yards of you, there is a chance that he is sneaking up behind you at that very moment to smell your hair and whisper in your ear while massaging your shoulders. So be prepared and carry Biden mace. Now,
anyone within sniffing distance of Joe Biden is at risk of hearing some sweet nothings in their ear.
Now, one of the things that I learned today, well, researching me, some creepy Uncle Joe Biden stuff, is that the Secret Service has what they call the Biden rule. And the Biden rule is that when at his home in Delaware or at the vice president's residence, he enjoys swimming in the pool naked. And that made some of the female Secret Service agents a little uncomfortable because he would then continue to walk around afterwards and talk to them. So they have a code name. And when they said the cobra is loose, that meant Joe Biden was going skinny dipping. So this is an actual Secret Service rule. It's the Biden rule. And So that was okay. The Cobra is loose. That meant female Secret Service agents don't go near that area of the house.
Unless you want to see
unless you want to see Joe Biden, which, in all honesty, I don't picture Joe Biden naked a lot. Like, it's been more today than probably ever before in my life.
In your life,
ever
right.
before. But like, I kind of picture it like C. Montgomery Burns naked. Like, that's just that's the way I kind of envision that being.
Right.
Like, excellent. You want a massage? But I respect a man in his 70s who likes to swim. Like, good for you, man. But really, naked? Well,
he's in amazing shape for his age. Here's the thing. I don't think anyone would dispute that. So if I had a pool in my house, I'd probably swim naked. I mean,
right. Yeah, I get it. But I mean, in the presence of women who are not your wife.
Get out of my house if you have a problem with it. No, it's that is yes.